How much does YouTube pay you to make videos on the platform?
I mean, I was surprised. I expected probably less than half of what I actually received.
We get asked this question all of the time. So we started to do some digging.
It is definitely inconsistent, not income that you want to rely on.
And we found some real life answers, and we're going to break them down for you. How much does YouTube pay you for 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000 subscribers? Fun fact actually, your niche is one of at least 5 things affecting your YouTube revenue. But do keep watching because we'll tell you what the other ones are as well. And there just might be something that you can do today to increase your revenue with a snap of a finger. First, let's start with 1,000 subscribers. It's the minimum required to monetize your videos along with 4,000 hours of watch time. Once you're through all of the YPP application kerfuffle, you'll be able to run ads on your videos. And after YouTube's cut of 45%, this is what you're going to earn. For long form videos anyway. Shorts, it's a bit more complicated and you end up with pennies. Not worth talking about in this video. But just to make things a little more complicated for first time earners, there's 2 ways to measure revenue. CPM and RPM. You can pause the video now and read this if you want to, but in short, RPM is what the creator makes, CPM is typically what the advertiser pays. So RPM is more important to us. And for anyone who's watching this video who's not yet monetized but does see ads on their videos, YouTube is allowed to do this. You agree to this in YouTube's terms of service, so hurry up and get monetized and then come back and watch this video. Or watch it anyway, we'll take the watch time. Alright then, here we have a personal finance and side hustle channel.
And so the first month of being monetized, I received $666.30.
I think he may have put that echo sound effect in himself, but $666 off your first month? That's pretty impressive. Let's have a look at another niche now. We've got Irina D, who's a realtor.
So my very first month of being monetized on YouTube, from January 17th to February 17th, I made $534.66.
Interesting. $100 less, but still pretty good. Let's go for something more mainstream. Gaming.
Today I'm going to show you guys how much YouTube pays me for a small gaming channel. Within the last 28 days, $172.74.
Oof, that's going to leave a mark. It's almost like gaming channels are being slapped in the face with $1 bills. Now, we haven't yet discussed how many views the channel's got or how many videos were published. And the reason for that is because something really interesting caught my eye in these screen grabs. Spot the difference between this finance channel and gaming channel. We've got an RPM here of over $22, and over here, an RPM of under $5. In other words, for every 1,000 views, one type of video earns 400% more than the other. Now, how can this be fair? Well, put simply, the market defines the value. This gap illustrates how advertiser demand and willingness to pay vary significantly between niches. Categories such as finance, business, education command higher ad rates because the advertisers see those audiences as far more valuable. And on the flip side of this, we have gaming, fitness, and cooking, which command far lower advertising rates. You can see in this list of average CPMs how different niches fare when it comes to ad revenue. Another common theme we see with small channels is that typically only 1 or 2 videos drive a majority of the income. This tends to indicate that as a new creator, they're still trying to figure out their audience and what videos resonate best with them. We often call this the small channel's viral moment, and it reinforces again how important consistency is. And you start to see evidence of this when a channel has 10,000 subscribers. Revenue, and indeed channel growth, tends to smooth out on the whole, and it replaces those dramatic and anxiety-inducing spikes. And at the same time in the creator's YouTube journey, they start to realize the unpredictability, the unreliability of AdSense revenue, and then they go off and explore other money-making opportunities. Is my light broken? From YouTube directly, those opportunities include channel memberships, donations through super thanks, super chats, and merch sales. External from YouTube, sponsors also start to enter the scene as advertisers see the value of micro-influencers. It's running out of battery. Anyway, don't fret if you're not seeing any sponsors yet.
You can also make a lot of money with other side hustles too, like affiliate marketing.
I made some partnerships with companies who are looking to do affiliate marketing, including Prize Picks, and Transparent Labs in 2022.
Candidly, number one, I do not make that much money from YouTube AdSense alone. However, I do have affiliate and sponsorship deals that end up being a much bigger portion than what I'm going to show you today directly in AdSense.
You see, they're all starting to think like business owners, not just content creators. But what if you are just still relying on good old or bad old AdSense? Tom's story focuses on real estate, makes 2 videos a week, and around about $3,100 a year with an RPM of $4.98. This is a similar RPM to the $3.73 that Kyle Mills makes with 10,000 subscribers, bringing in $3,900 annually with a focus on sports. And now for the high RPM niches, such as $21. Dara is in the SM education niche and makes nearly $8,000 a year in AdSense. And Kevin Pack in business and finance makes almost $14,000 a year from an RPM of $32. So for some channels, for some niches, this is now becoming a considerable chunk of change. But in most cases, it's not life-changing or business-defining. How about when you 10x that to 100,000 subscribers? At this point, YouTube probably isn't just a hobby. It may be financially sustaining for you. So the money better be worth it, right? But before we look at the numbers, let's take a look at what influences RPM. First, video length and ad format. You may have seen us joke about this in the past, and this is what you do when you need another 7 seconds. But 8 minutes really matters on YouTube. Put simply, longer videos offer more ad placements, potentially boosting RPM, while skippable ads tend to yield higher revenue. Next, we have the big factor of geographical location and audience demographics. If your viewers come from the United States, higher RPMs. If your viewers reside mostly in India, lower CPMs. The simple differentiator here is the average salary income. Alternatively, if your content appeals to a niche market in a specific region, such as luxury travel in Europe, this will ramp up RPMs. On the other hand, if your main audience is young gamers with little disposable income, RPMs are going to plummet. Ad blockers are another influence on RPM, and only in a negative sense. And then we have the classic seasonal shifts. For most niches, the run-up to the holiday season, typically the last 4 months of the year, are a gold mine for RPMs as advertisers flock to the platform. But there are other seasonal trends depending on the niche, New Year's resolutions, school holidays, and so on. The more you understand how RPM works, the more bucks you can get from your content. For example, do you want to be going flat out in January and February when RPMs typically are lower for most niches? However, having said all of this, when it comes to AdSense, a lot is still out of your control. But anyway, what about those 100,000 subscriber channels? Jesse Eckel, who started out on TikTok and then moved onto YouTube, wise choice, makes between $11,000 and $17,000 per month after hitting 100,000 subscribers. Jamie and Sarah make around about $70,000 annually, which is between $5,000 to $6,000 a month. But they mention how they work with sponsors, affiliates, and even have their own ebook.
It is definitely inconsistent, not income that you want to rely on. Because you can see here how quickly it can drop off.
And upon hitting 100,000 subscribers, the food reviewing channel Rockstar Eater makes around $6,000 to $8,000 per month. But here's a word of warning for you. Look how the revenue drops off from January onwards. Having said all we've said about ad revenues and RPMs, there is a brand new dynamic to monetization, especially for small channels. 500 subscribers and 3,000 hours of watch time will now get you into the YouTube Partner Program. But for what? Find out in this fantastic video.